It's finally over. Yes, it's finally over. The season that had so much promise, so much belief, so much excitement after making playoffs the year prior ends in, well, not that. The New York Knicks end their season in, well, a very New York Knicks type way, and that's on a pretty phenomenal win streak, but that's not necessarily a good thing due to timing. I mean, the Knicks decided to go 7-3 of their last 10 games. Now, look, I'm not one to tank. I'm not one for the losing. And, to me, I feel like, it's not very easy to lose when your better players are your younger pieces. And, the one thing that's gotten me so frustrated about this entire season was the timing that the younger pieces played. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. One thing I want to mainly talk about right now was the precious message that some of you guys wanted to hear from Mr. Leon Rose. Leon Rose went on and he said a few things like this.
I feel as though since the All-Star break, the team's, shown some momentum and has shown some good signs. We've been 11-11. We've won 8 out of our last 13. And the opportunities that have been given to the guys you just referred to, have been, these guys have gotten an opportunity and taken advantage of it.
And blah, blah, blah. My standpoint on that was I did not care. I do not care to hear what Leon Rose comes out to say. I feel like some of you guys really believe that this is 2K, my league, and Leon Rose is going to straight up come out into the press and say that he plans this summer to trade Julius Randle. I really feel like some of you guys believed that that's what he was going to come out and say, because a lot of you guys were calling for Leon Rose to say something at some point of the season, and I never understood that. He was going to come out and say a scripted response like he did today. And then on top of that, to hear this part about Julius Randle.
And, and Julius is only 27. So, all those things take, that we look at that like, development is key.
It's so small, but all I'm hearing is that he is thinking that Julius Randle is one of the other guys, just another young piece that needs some developing. Look, I know some of you guys have already, sailed ship on the whole Leon Rose thing. In no way, shape, or form have I done that yet, because I feel like this is the best regime we've had in a while. Yes, the free agency has been very for the last few years, but as far as drafting, this regime has done some of the best drafting that we have seen in a while. And though you may hate to hear it started with Scott Perry. Yes, he made some misses like the Kevin Knox draft, sure. But that draft also included guys like Mitchell Robinson. And then from then, we're seeing these later picks be utilized into players that we know will probably be a part of this team rotation long term, or be a part of something or trade or something that brings us another piece that can give us more value for this team. So it's a bittersweet kind of situation with this front office, but I know it's a lot better than front offices in the past. I thought it would be a great idea to sign Joakim Noah, who we finally got rid of his contract this season. So that's something to be excited about after today's game. We're not paying Joakim Noah anymore. The season's over, so we're going to have a little recap and just talk about how the season went, what's to come, and what I'm looking forward to the Knicks doing in the coming off season. Buckle up, y'all. Let's talk about the Knicks one last time before we go into the off season. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Crew? It's your boy CK2K, and welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. I do want to apologize if it's a little bit darker than it normally is. It's just my lighting situation is rough right now, so forgive me if it looks like I'm the Dark Knight on this side. It is what it is. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my other channel, CK. A lot of you guys are finally making your way over there. We live stream over there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Gaming stuff. We react to things. It's a dope vibe over there. Subscribe to all the channels across the board. You know the vibes. Appreciate the support. Now let's talk about the Knicks. Like I said at the top, the expectations for the Knicks this season were at an all-time high. We had the 50 burger thing going on. Shout out to JD. And everyone over on Knicks Fan TV, everybody was jumping out the window thinking that the team that was built was ready for 50 wins. Mind you, I was not far off. I really thought that the team was going to go for like 46 wins this season, and all of us are disappointed. There were a few people who were telling us we'd be lucky to get around the 35 range, and well, congratulations, you pessimists. You were right. You were 100% correct. But yeah, the expectations for this team after making the playoffs the prior season were through the roof. People thought that Julius Randle was going to at least follow up or do something similar to what he did last year. People were expecting RJ Barrett to make a bigger leap sooner than when he actually did. We were expecting to see some of these younger guys a lot sooner, and we didn't. So there's a lot of things that are expected of this team that were not had, starting with Julius Randle. Julius Randle, though, when you look at his averages, are in a good spot, but they weren't enough. But the averages and the stats as an actual Knicks fan, there's the casuals, but the actual Knicks fan that watched these games, it was more than that when it came to Julius Randle this season. It was a lot of the mental things that happen, from the attitudes, from the thumbs down, the cussing out, the missing press conferences, getting upset a few weeks ago or a few days ago when the Knicks won a game. Like, all those kind of things from Julius Randle were the case. The other thing about this season was injuries, missing pieces like Derrick Rose, after him being such a vital part of this team the year prior. I feel like this beginning part of the season, you could tell Derrick Rose's absence was definitely missed. We also saw injuries to Nerlens Noel, which was a key injury because his contract was already something that a lot of Knicks fans were scratching their head over in the first place. And then the icing on the cake for that crazy contract that he's on, he's now hurt for the majority of the season. Hell, he came out of training camp hurt. So it was a lot of problems there. So injuries was a little bit of a thing. We had guys in and out. Quentin Grimes is finally finding his groove. He goes out. Cam Reddish was finding his groove and was in a perfect spot where he could start getting some minutes and, put himself in a permanent spot for this rotation next year. And he unfortunately gets hurt. So a lot of injuries as this season went on that did not help us out. It's not a big excuse as to why we didn't win many games, but it definitely was a factor for more things outside of just the games this season, if that makes sense. And the next two things that were big highlights for me are the incompetence of the rotations and some Tom Thibodeau mishaps, as well as the very fun ending that we had that unfortunately ties back into the incompetence like I'm mentioning. When I say incompetence, I'm talking about the fact that the New York Knicks this season, when we saw all kind of other teams throw out all kind of crazy rotations, all kind of different lineups, whether it's small ball, whether it's playing fast, this, that, and the third, the Knicks chose to stick to what they do and put out rotations that never made sense and never put us in the right position to win games. And basically that is not playing the guys that would make the most sense. We're watching other teams like Grizzlies or Raptors play names that you weren't expecting to play this season after the draft. But they're out there getting solid time and doing something with it, when we're out here playing guys that are not really providing much on the court. And God bless you, guys like Taj Gibson in some instances was playing 25 to 26 minutes and ending games with 4 points and maybe 5 rebounds. So that's where the incompetence comes in. Now, as I mentioned with the fun ending, with these last few weeks of great basketball, that too is tied to the incompetence, because now that when Tom Thibodeau ran the team his way, it did not work. He is now forced to play the younger guys, and now the younger guys are showing what could have been all season long, which again ties to incompetence. I can't even be mad at us going 7-3 in these last 10 games, because how the hell are we going to force losses when the best players are the ones that are playing, and the better players for this team are the younger players, because they're playing the better version of basketball for the New York Knicks. Defense leading the offense, fast breaks, moving quickly, all kinds of stuff. Point guard play, running through quickly. Obi Toppin finally being freed, being the lottery pick, the exciting pick that everybody was looking forward to in the 2020 draft. The player of the year. That was not a fluke. That was not a fluke. Especially when he said it himself, when he's so worried about being taken out whenever he makes a mistake. And we all knew that. People were calling in on Knicks Fan TV. People are tweeting it. I'm saying it over here on this channel. We all knew that the reason why Obi Toppin wasn't really reaching his potential was the fact that he has to play a certain way so he doesn't get yanked out of the game. So this is where a lot of the exciting stuff of this second half of the season that I'm looking forward to, and knowing that we have a bit of a future that we can build around depending on what we do in the off season, it ties to incompetence. And I feel like that's such a big word for this season because, like I said, I'm watching these other teams adapt to the NBA today. The Memphis Grizzlies are atop the Western Conference with one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Shout out to Taylor Jenkins. The Raptors, who a lot of people thought would be hanging out with us in the draft scene right now, is in the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. Shout out to Nick Nurse. Shout out to Usai Ujiri. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Those are teams that are understanding today's game and utilizing the guys who should be playing rather than guys who've been in the league longer. Now, I get the argument, like, you can't talk about rotation until you see them in practice. What are you not seeing in practice that makes you think that Obi Toppin should not be playing the basketball game? What are you not seeing in practice that tells you that Immanuel Quickley is not our best option at point guard? Deuce McBride, when he's over in the G League and doing stuff like that because he has the confidence to play over there, should not be running some burn with the New York Knicks, with the main team. That's what I'm talking about with the incompetence. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I calling Tom Thibodeau a dumb coach. You know, he made mistakes and, you know, he had, you know, up and down moments this season. But when I talk about incompetence, I just feel like he's incompetent when it comes to playing and running a team with the younger guys. It's just his track record. And then when his hand is forced and he has to play these guys, he's still doing it reluctantly. But now he's doing it and we're getting a better version of basketball. Like I said, incompetence was a big word that I highlighted for this season because it definitely was just all over this basketball team all year long. Like, imagine if he's playing these guys throughout the season and we had a record like this. That's different. At least you're letting these guys grow. You're understanding this team is not there yet, but you're seeing these guys play and grow as the season goes on. Yes, it'll be frustrating, but at the very least, you're playing through the young guys and you're losing with the younger guys that are learning to play on the job and make their mistakes, understand how to win games and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, that is what you want to see for this team. That's what I'm talking about, the incompetence. But we all knew that those younger guys were the better options. And now they're out there playing when we're out here supposed to be securing a draft pick because that's how you get better in the NBA, through the draft. But unfortunately, to your thoughts, Tom Thibodeau, when you're thinking you're playing the younger pieces and you're not going to do much damage throughout the regular season, the end of the season, au contraire, RJ Barrett completely flips around his season, has tremendous February's, March, and a little bit of April. Obi Toppin ends off his season after shooting 18% damn near all year long from the three-point line, ends off his season with a career high. Immanuel Quickley is a triple-double machine all of a sudden. Incompetence. That's the simple word I'm using today. Incompetence. So with all that to say, there's a huge upside that's on this team. Whether, you know, like I said, if there's trades that come about this year, this offseason, we know the rumors about Donovan Mitchell, this, that, and the third, this name, that name. The point of the matter is that the Knicks have shown that they drafted well. They traded well in a Cam Reddish trade. They have the right young pieces that can be a part of a team right now that can give you wins in the Eastern Conference. We've seen it. The proof is in the pudding. Now it's about what you do in the offseason, bringing in the right veterans that come in and mesh with the younger guys. RJ Barrett is the piece. Yes, his efficiency has been something to look at, but the point for RJ Barrett right now at 21 years old, I understand the complaints about efficiency, but the fact that this kid is understanding how to get the ball in the bucket at 21 against guys like James Harden, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, you name it, LeBron James, he's doing all this against those key players, and he's understanding the way, understanding how to score in today's NBA at 21. Hell yeah, be inefficient. I don't care how you do it. Figure it out. The efficiency will get better as the time goes on. And even if he isn't the most efficient player, if he's a guy that's able to get the ball in the bucket and then also provide for others, I'll take that. You know, we've seen players like that. I mean, Jimmy Butler's not the most efficient guy, but he's definitely a very valuable asset to the teams that he's played a part of. Like I said, yes, it is definitely a note, but at 21 years old, if you're understanding how to put the ball in the hoop, you're putting 30 points per game at a high rate for your age in today's NBA, I'm not really worried about that right now. 21 years old, I ain't worried about that. I'm not expecting you to be out there being an A+ player every single night. Hell no. Hell no. Confidence is a hell of a drug, man. Ask Obi Toppin, ask RJ Barrett, ask Immanuel Quickley, ask any of those guys. Confidence is a hell of a drug. And last but not least, the last thing that I'm looking at to wrap up this entire season is what's next. What's next? We're obviously going to do a lot of videos about, you know, mock drafts and who we should draft and who we should be looking at, this, that, and the third. Names that make sense for the Knicks, that, whatever. Free agency players that are going to be available. Who can we afford? We're going to talk about all of that. But just specifically looking at what this team needs, we need to know what's going on with Mitchell Robinson. Did he do enough for the Knicks to understand that, you know, we're going to go forward with him, or is he not worth the price tag? Then you look at guys like Jalen Duren in the draft or other stuff like that. Then you're also looking at Immanuel Quickley. Did he do enough to show that maybe he is our point guard of the future? And then, you know, you sign another point guard, an actual point guard that can be a good backup for him. If that's the option we decide to go, help him make that transition fully as a point guard. The triple doubles for me, I'm hit or miss with how I feel about triple doubles. But what that shows for me in Immanuel Quickley more than anybody else is that he's going to be an active point guard. His attacking the rim, his decision making has been shaky for me as a point guard, but you saw that fine tune as the year went on, or as the end of the year went on, because guess what? He had time to do it without worrying about making mistakes. And with that time, he did a good job with it. I'm not necessarily saying that I think Immanuel Quickley is our starting point guard. I know there's some Knicks fans who are like, yo, CK, have you not seen enough? Am I fine if that's an option we decide to go to? Yes. I love the value of Immanuel Quickley. I love him as a Knick. I love him as a leader. But I'm saying if there is other options, I'm not going to completely close the door on those. In a class like this where, you know, there's not many real point guards out there that can really, you know, be a game changer, and the free agency class where there's not many available point guards that can really be our starter, not just for this season, but for long term, Immanuel Quickley might be our best option. That's why I'm looking more so at the Mitchell Robinson situation. What happens there? I don't know. I personally don't think the Knicks are going to retain Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson as a Knick, to me, has been completely fleeced as a New York Knick financially. Completely fleeced. And I think that the minute he sees a actual competent front office, not saying ours isn't, I'm sorry, I'm really aggressive right now, but when he sees another front office offer him a lot of money, he's going to take it. And rightfully so. Now it's up to the Knicks if they're going to flesh out a lot of money for him, because RJ Barrett is also up for an extension that he's going to be deserving. Whether it is the full max extension or a hefty extension, it's going to be going RJ Barrett's way, and it's deserved because we need to secure that cornerstone for our team. So for me, I'm looking at it this way. At that 11, 12, 10, wherever we land in the draft pick, I'm looking at names like Jalen Duren, because I just don't think Mitchell Robinson comes back. I would love to. I think it's one of our priorities. I just don't think it comes back. The big question marks are point guard, and what do we do if we don't have Mitch? That's what I'm looking at. And then the last but not least one is Julius Randle. What happens with Julius Randle? With the comments made by Leon Rose, it's looking like there's a possibility that Julius Randle, he's still going to be a New York Knick. I think that this is the perfect time for a breakup for both sides. Julius Randle, to me, as I said, I have no ill will towards Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle goes to another team, I'm still going to root for him, because I think what we saw in the second year with Julius Randle, and, you know, that fight, I feel like that is a version of Julius Randle that could be somewhere else in a smaller market more consistently. So I feel like for both sides, it just makes more sense for him, for, you know, for his mental as well as his play on the court. I think it makes more sense for him to go to another team and play. Where is that? I couldn't tell you. It's got to be a small market team. What we get in return, I don't know about that either. Maybe we move up in the draft. Who knows? Anything could happen. I'm just looking at some kind of move for Julius Randle. But the other thing when it comes to Julius Randle for me is if Julius Randle can accept the fact that he is a B option. If he plays that B role to RJ Barrett, I believe Julius Randle can still have numbers like he did his all-star year and still be productive for this team. But I just don't think Julius Randle has the mental or has the ego to be able to do something like that. So that's why I feel like it just makes more sense for both sides to cut ties. But I'm going to say this right now, and you can clip this for future use. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if Julius Randle is a part of this team come media day, right before the season starts in October. It's very possible. Very possible. Hearing what Leon Rose had to say, you know, and to me, it doesn't seem as black and white as it should be to the front office that they need to move on from Julius Randle for a lot of reasons, but we'll see what happens. It's just been a very up and down season, but it's crazy because as a Knicks fan, knowing that this season wasn't what we wanted it to be, 37 wins, 45 losses, no all-stars, the thumbs down, all kinds of moments that we had this season. I'm sad that we're not going to be able to have any more Knicks basketball. Just that sheer excitement of knowing that the Knicks play, it's something that I always, and I'm sure a lot of you guys look forward to in your day, because regardless of what's going on behind the scenes and the headaches you get, this is our basketball team. It's our team that we cheer for, and knowing that there's going to be no more Knicks basketball until October or until the summer league, which I will be at again, it sucks. It really does suck. It's bittersweet because I don't want this rendition of the Knicks to continue in the way that it has been coached by Tom Thibodeau. I want to see what we do in the offseason. But at the same time, just the fact that we're not going to have any more Knicks basketball, that kind of sucks, But it's our team. We love this team. And you know what? Let's just hope that something good happens for us this offseason for once, whether it is getting us our point guard or whether it is getting us somebody else that can go out there and play next to RJ Barrett that can help this team move forward in the future. What comes first, we'll see. But the season's over, y'all. What has been your favorite moment? What is your highlights, your dislikes, your likes of this season? Let me know all of your thoughts about everything in the comments below. Let's get it all out. Let's get rid of everything that has to do with this 2021-2022 season, because now it's time to start looking ahead to what's coming for this team. The draft, free agency, players that look frustrated that might want to be traded, all those kind of things. That's what we're looking forward to right now. So get all of your thoughts from last season out in the comments below. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. Make sure you go check out CK channel. I'm telling you guys, we stream there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. Go subscribe. It's right there. It's on the channel. It's me, but with the green background. Go subscribe. You will not regret it. I live chat. We talk about the Knicks over there as well. Go subscribe to the channel. Support your boy on his journey. All right. I'm out of here, y'all. You know the vibes. Let's get it. I've said my piece. As always, I love to hear what you guys have to say. It's been an up and down season. Let's move on and look forward to the next one. All right. Much love to you guys, man. And as always, I appreciate y'all support through everything. All right, I'm out of here. Peace.
Cold pizza like Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for that new way. I think I like it how it is.